Joan Park stepped into the dusty Starship dealership, his worn boots leaving faint tracks on the metallic floor. The place smelled like old engine oil and forgotten dreams. Rows of spacecraft stretched out before him, each looking more beaten and worn than the last. Kira Kim watched from her elevated sales platform, her eyes calculating every movement of the young mechanic. She knew desperate customers when she saw them, and Jun looked like he needed a ship more than most. His clothes were patched, his hands calloused from years of mechanical work, and a certain desperation hung around him like a thin layer of dust. "Interested in something?" Kira called out, her voice smooth and practiced. Jun approached the counter, scanning the available vessels. Most looked like they might fall apart the moment they left planetary atmosphere. But he needed transportation. His small mechanic business on the frontier planet required mobility. "What's your budget?" Kira asked, already sizing up her potential victim. "Limited," Jun admitted honestly. "I need something reliable. Nothing fancy." Kira smiled. That word reliable was music to a Shady dealer's ears. She knew exactly which ship to show him. A vessel that looked terrible, but concealed some interesting secrets. The ship was tucked in the far corner of the lot. From a distance, it looked like a complete wreck. Rust covered its exterior, panels were misaligned, and several external components seemed ready to fall off. But Jun was a mechanic. He saw potential where others saw junk. As they walked toward the spacecraft, Kira began her well-rehearsed sales pitch. She spoke about its rich history and previous careful owner. Standard lines that meant absolutely nothing. Jun listened carefully, his trained mechanical eye examining every detail. The ship's hull had strange modifications. Some panels looked newer than others, hastily welded in place. Interesting repair work that suggested something more complex was happening underneath the surface. Most buyers would never notice, but Jun was different. "May I look inside?" he asked. Kira hesitated for just a millisecond, too quick for an untrained eye to catch. But Jun noticed. Something wasn't quite right about this deal. The interior was surprisingly clean compared to the exterior. Advanced control panels gleamed beneath a layer of dust. Specialized equipment was tucked into corners, equipment that seemed far too sophisticated for a junker spacecraft. Jun's fingers traced along a hidden circuit board. Something extraordinary was built into this ship's systems, something that didn't match its appearance. "How much?" he asked. Kira named a price that was both incredibly low and suspiciously high. Low enough to seem like a bargain, but high enough to trap an unsuspecting buyer in complex financial agreements. What Kira didn't know was that Jun understood contracts better than most. His years as a mechanic had taught him to read the fine print, to understand hidden clauses and unexpected conditions. Their negotiation began. A dance of words, numbers, and carefully constructed sentences. Kira believed she was manipulating Jun. In reality, something much more interesting was happening. The ship represented more than transportation. It was a puzzle, a challenge waiting to be understood. And Jun Park was exactly the right person to unravel its mysteries. As sunlight filtered through the dealership's dusty windows, casting long shadows across rows of spacecraft, Jun made his decision. He would take the ship, knowing full well that Kira thought she was getting the better end of the deal. Little did Kira know, this transaction would change everything. The contract was signed. The ship was purchased. A new journey was about to begin, and neither Jun nor Kira had any idea what was truly waiting for them. The ship sat in Jun's small workshop, looking more like a metal skeleton than a functioning spacecraft. Dust covered its exterior, and tools were scattered everywhere as Jun began his careful examination. Most mechanics would have given up, but he saw something special hidden beneath the layers of rust and neglect. His hands moved carefully across the control panels, wiping away years of accumulated grime. Each touch revealed something unexpected. Circuit boards weren't standard. They were custom designed with intricate patterns that looked more like advanced artwork than typical spacecraft technology. June connected his diagnostic tools, expecting basic readings. Instead, complex data streams began flooding his screens. Strange energy signatures danced across the monitors, signatures that didn't match any standard spacecraft design he'd ever seen. Something was definitely different about this ship. He discovered the first hidden system accidentally. While replacing what looked like a standard power coupling, a secret compartment suddenly revealed itself. Inside, a compact quantum processor hummed with potential. This wasn't ordinary technology. This was something far more advanced. Days turned into weeks. June worked carefully, methodically mapping out the ship's unique systems. Each discovery made him more excited. The vessel wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a technological marvel disguised as a junker. The quantum processor seemed designed to enhance multiple ship functions simultaneously. Propulsion, navigation, defensive capabilities. Everything could be optimized beyond standard specifications. Someone had invested significant resources into creating this unique machine. Communication systems were equally impressive. Hidden encryption modules suggested the ship could communicate across vast distances using methods unknown to standard galactic communication networks. Whoever designed this ship wanted it to remain undetected. Most interesting were the weapon systems. They weren't visible in traditional locations. Instead, integrated circuits were woven directly into the ship's structural framework. A defensive network that could activate within milliseconds, completely invisible to standard scanning technologies. June realized he wasn't just repairing a ship. He was unlocking a technological mystery. Each component told a story of advanced engineering, of someone who understood technology far beyond current standards. His workshop became a sanctuary of discovery. Blueprints covered walls. Complex diagrams explained intricate system interactions. Neighbors would occasionally peek in, seeing June surrounded by holographic displays and advanced tools, looking more like a scientist than a simple mechanic. The more he discovered, the more questions emerged. Who originally built this ship? Why were such advanced systems hidden so carefully? The technology suggested military-grade modifications, but with a complexity that seemed almost artistic. Weeks of careful work began revealing the ship's true potential. June could now see how the quantum processor could enhance navigation through complex spatial regions. Defensive systems could adapt faster than any standard spacecraft, predicting potential threats before they even emerge. Something else caught his attention. Subtle programming that suggested the ship could learn. Not just follow commands, but actually adapt and improve its own systems based on encountered challenges. This wasn't just advanced technology. This was something close to artificial intelligence. As midnight approached, June sat back, surrounded by diagnostic equipment and half-assembled circuit boards. He had transformed what looked like a worthless piece of junk into something extraordinary. The ship was no longer just a mode of transportation. It was a technological marvel waiting to be unleashed. Outside his workshop, the frontier planet's night was quiet. But inside, something remarkable was taking shape. A spacecraft that held secrets most would never understand. A machine that represented potential beyond imagination. June smiled. His life was about to change completely. And the journey was just beginning. The ship waited, its hidden systems humming with anticipation, ready for whatever challenge would come next. The deep space route was supposed to be routine. June had accepted a simple cargo transport mission, nothing exciting, just a way to test his newly modified spacecraft. Little did he know that danger lurked among the distant star clusters. 3 pirate ships appeared suddenly, materializing from the darkness of space like predatory shadows. Their weapons charged, targeting June's seemingly vulnerable vessel. The lead pirate ship's communication system crackled with a harsh message: "Surrender your cargo. Resistance is futile." June's hands moved across the control panel. The ship's hidden systems began awakening, like a sleeping beast preparing for battle. What the pirates saw was an old, worn-out spacecraft. What they didn't see was the complex network of advanced technology humming beneath its exterior. The first missile approached. Instead of panicking, June's quantum processor calculated its trajectory in milliseconds. The ship's hull shifted, not through traditional maneuvering, but through an adaptive defense mechanism that seemed to predict the missile's path. The missile missed by mere centimeters. Pirates rarely encountered ships that could dodge so precisely. Their communication channels filled with confused chatter. Something was wrong with their target. June's fingers danced across the control systems. The ship's exterior began to change, not physically, but in terms of energy signature. It became invisible to traditional scanning methods, a ghost among the stars. The second wave of attacks came. Laser systems that would have destroyed most spacecraft encountered an impossible defense. June's ship absorbed the energy, redistributing it through complex quantum circuits. What should have been destructive became harmless. One pirate ship fired a concentrated plasma burst, a weapon designed to destroy small to medium-sized spacecraft in a single shot. June's ship not only absorbed the energy but reflected a portion back. The attacking vessel's shields flickered and failed. "Impossible," one pirate captain muttered, watching his monitoring systems go crazy. The ship's communication systems, hidden and advanced, began broadcasting a warning, not in standard galactic languages, but in a complex code that disrupted the pirates' own communication networks. Chaos erupted among the attacking vessels. Their systems became confused, navigation computers spinning out of control. What began as a simple ambush turned into a technological nightmare. June remained calm. Each movement was calculated, each defensive action precisely timed. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was an extension of his own understanding, a technological partner that anticipated threats before they fully developed. Two pirate ships collided while trying to reposition. The third began spinning uncontrollably, its systems completely compromised by the advanced defensive network June had carefully built. Within 30 minutes, what should have been a deadly ambush became a complete defeat for the pirates. They had attacked what they thought was a vulnerable target, only to encounter a technological marvel that defied all expectations. As the last pirate ship tumbled helplessly through space, June allowed himself a small smile. The ship's systems began returning to standby mode, the complex defensive networks folding back into their hidden configurations. The cargo remained untouched. The mission remained successful, and no one would believe the pirates' story of the impossible ship that defeated them without firing a single offensive weapon. Space returned to its usual quiet. Stars continued their ancient dance, and June's ship continued its journey, looking like nothing more than an old, unremarkable spacecraft. But something had changed. The ship was no longer just a machine. It had proven itself to be something extraordinary, something that represented the true potential of human engineering. The stars remained silent, keeping the secret of what had just transpired in the vast darkness of space. News traveled faster than light in the interconnected galactic communication networks. The story of a single spacecraft defeating 3 well-armed pirate vessels spread like wildfire across trading routes, space stations, and planetary communication channels. Hannah Lee, a respected galactic communication specialist, first picked up the unusual transmission. Her sophisticated tracking systems caught fragments of the encounter, bits of encrypted data that told an extraordinary story. A seemingly ordinary ship had transformed into something remarkable during an unexpected attack. Communication centers buzzed with speculation. Traders, merchants, and space travelers all wanted to know more about the mysterious spacecraft and its pilot. Rumors began to circulate, some fantastic, some barely believable. The dealership where June originally purchased the ship became an instant point of interest. Kira Kim found herself bombarded with questions. Investigators wanted to know how such an advanced vessel could have been sold so cheaply. Her reputation began to crumble with each passing hour. Satellite networks began sharing the transmission. Visual records showed the impossible. A simple cargo ship completely neutralizing a pirate attack without firing a single offensive weapon. Technology experts couldn't explain the ship's capabilities, Military analysts found themselves confused by its defensive systems. Jun became an unexpected legend. People who had never met him began telling stories about the mechanic who turned a junker spacecraft into a technological marvel. His name started appearing in space trader forums, communication networks, and underground communication channels. The pirate groups suffered significant embarrassment. Their reputation for being unbeatable raiders took a massive hit. Other potential targets now knew that a seemingly weak ship might contain unexpected defenses. Planetary communication centers began investigating. Where did the ship come from? Who designed its unique systems? Military research teams became interested in understanding the technology that could so effectively neutralize an attack. Kira Kim's dealership became the center of intense scrutiny. How could she have sold such an advanced piece of technology without understanding its true value? Her trading license came under immediate review. What seemed like a simple sale was now a complex investigation. Space traders started sharing the story in their communication networks. Each retelling made the story more incredible. The simple mechanic who turned a worthless spacecraft into a technological wonder became a symbol of human potential. Jun remained unaware of the growing legend. He continued his work, treating the entire event as just another interesting technical challenge. His workshop remained the same. Tools scattered, diagnostic equipment running, new modifications constantly being developed. The ship itself became a topic of intense discussion. Technology experts couldn't understand its unique design. Military researchers wanted to study its defensive capabilities. Each analysis revealed something more incredible than the last. Communication networks began calling it the ghost ship, a vessel that could appear, defend itself, and disappear without leaving any traditional technological trace. Speculation ran wild about its true capabilities. Planetary governments became interested. A technology that could so effectively neutralize threats without causing direct damage represented a significant strategic advantage. Research teams began trying to track down more information about its origin. Hannah Lee continued tracking the story's progression. Her communication analysis showed how quickly the information was spreading. What started as a simple cargo ship encounter was becoming a galactic legend. The pirates who attacked the ship found themselves becoming laughingstocks in their own communities. Their failure was complete and total, not just defeated, but made to look completely incompetent by a single spacecraft. Space stations began sharing the transmission. Trading routes started discussing the mysterious mechanic and his incredible ship. Jun's reputation grew with each retelling, though he remained unaware of his growing legendary status. As weeks passed, the story continued to spread. A simple cargo run had transformed into something much more, a testament to human innovation, technological potential, and the unexpected ways intelligence could overcome traditional threats. The stars continued their silent watch, holding the secrets of a remarkable journey that had changed everything. The bounty for neutralizing the pirate fleet arrived unexpectedly. Galactic trade authorities transferred an enormous sum directly into Jun's account, compensation for protecting commercial shipping routes and eliminating a persistent criminal threat. Kira Kim watched her entire business crumble. Investigation teams discovered multiple fraudulent sales practices. Her trading license was revoked, her reputation destroyed by the very ship she believed was worthless. The mechanic she tried to cheat had become her ultimate downfall. Jun used the bounty money strategically. He established Park Stellar Technologies, a company dedicated to developing advanced spacecraft technologies. His first mission: helping small traders protect themselves against potential threats. The company quickly gained reputation. Traders who once struggled against pirate attacks now had access to defensive technologies that seemed almost magical. Jun's innovations transformed space transportation, making routes safer and more efficient. His original spacecraft became the prototype for an entirely new class of defensive vessels. Technology experts couldn't understand how he had created such advanced systems from what appeared to be a junker ship. Planetary governments became interested. Military research teams wanted to understand the technological principles behind Jun's designs. But he remained committed to civilian applications, refusing massive government contracts. The pirates who originally attacked him found themselves systematically tracked and neutralized, not through violent means, but through advanced technological monitoring systems that made their traditional operations impossible. Hannah Lee, the communication specialist who first spread news of Jun's incredible journey, became a key advisor in his new company. Her communication networks helped distribute their innovative technologies across multiple star systems. Each spacecraft produced by Park Stellar Technologies carried something unique: adaptive defense systems that could predict and neutralize threats before they fully developed. The technology represented a quantum leap in space transportation safety. Kira Kim attempted to challenge the investigations against her, but evidence was overwhelming. Her dealership's records showed multiple instances of deliberate technological misrepresentation. She found herself facing significant legal consequences. Jun never sought revenge. His approach was always about solving problems, creating better solutions. The bounty money and his new company's success were simply opportunities to help others, to make space travel safer and more accessible. Trade routes became safer. Small merchants who once lived in constant fear of pirate attacks could now transport goods with minimal risk. Jun's technologies transformed an entire industry's approach to space transportation. The spacecraft that started as a seemingly worthless junker had become the foundation of a technological revolution. From a simple mechanics workshop to a company changing galactic transportation, Jun's journey represented human potential at its best. Planetary communication networks continued sharing his story. A mechanic who turned a cheap spacecraft into a technological marvel. Someone who transformed a potential loss into a massive opportunity for innovation. Years passed. Park Stellar Technologies became a respected name in space transportation. Their defensive technologies were considered standard equipment for serious traders and explorers. Jun remained humble. His workshop still looked like a creative chaos of tools, diagnostic equipment, and half-finished projects. The spirit of innovation that drove him remained unchanged, even as his company grew. The original spacecraft, the one Kira Kim had sold so cheaply, remained in his personal collection. A reminder of where everything began, a symbol of potential hidden in unexpected places. Justice had been served, not through revenge, but through innovation. The Shady dealer lost everything, while the mechanic created an entire industry dedicated to protecting space travelers. As new star systems opened for exploration, Jun's technologies became the standard. What began as a simple cargo run had transformed into a legendary journey of human potential. The stars continued their silent watch, holding the secrets of an extraordinary transformation.